So good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Comon from Paul's Photo. I want to welcome you here to the first ever midnight launch of a camera, and we're here to launch the Canon R5 Mark II. It's a very exciting event, so thank you all for coming out tonight. I know you guys are not going to get anything done at work tomorrow, and that's okay. We're going to have a lot of fun here, and hopefully all of you will get a camera tonight. I think we might have enough cameras for everyone here, so that's going to be very exciting. So I just want to give a shout out to Stephanie and Cassie from Canon who made tonight possible, and thank you, Cassie, for coaching me through the camera so I can help you guys out. Now know that I am not a tech wizard on the camera. I've had a little bit of training. I've had 2 days of photography with the R5 Mark II. And for those of you who know me well, I am not that technical. I am more creative, and I'm going to talk to you about the features and the benefits of the R5 Mark II from the creative perspective and how I've used it over the last couple of days, and how I think it's going to change your photography. And that's what it's all about. And you know, you guys know I own a camera store and I love photography, but it's not just about selling cameras, it's about making better pictures. And I want each and every one of you who take this camera home tonight or tomorrow or whenever to see an improvement in your picture quality, because that's what it's about. It's about better pictures, it's more opportunities. And I think that the R5 Mark II is going to give every Canon shooter a big boost. I mean, and that's whether you're coming from a Rebel or a 5D SLR or even an original R or even the original R5. There's enough juice here, there's enough difference here for all of you to make a difference in your picture taking. And that's what I want for all of you, all right? So first I want to tell you thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for coming. And I am the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I love what I do. I have the ability to have a great family, a great business. We get to go out and do fun things and make great pictures. Yeah, and this is why we have cameras, right? Is to go out and do these things. And that's what I love. So I invite all of you to join us in what we do, because your camera is a passport. Your camera is the ability to get you to places you can't normally go or you wouldn't normally go. At least it is for me. And I want you to use this magic box that we carry to bring back the memories, to capture the emotions and the feelings. And I want you to thank you for your support of Paul's Photo, the Creative Photo Academy, and the lab. And I want you to really be part of this amazing crew, this amazing community we have here, because it's a lot of fun, and I can't do this, we can't do this without each other, because that's how it goes. That's how we roll. So are you ready to rock this? I mean, because this is an amazing camera. It's an amazing tool. And for those of you who are already Canon mirrorless people, it will be very familiar to you. For those of you who are SLR people, you have a little bit of learning to do, but the menus are going to be very much the same for the late model SLR. So if you're 5D Mark IV or 7D Mark II, it's going to be really close for you. So if you look at the outside of the camera, it's a Canon camera, right? You've got the manual focus, autofocus switch, the stabilizer on and off on the lens, the shutter release. On the back, it looks very much the same as any Canon camera. You have the menu, you have the zoom in, the info, the Q button, the set, and I have to say again about the set button. Right, Valeria? Press the set button, because whatever change you make, if you don't say okay, is it okay? No K, it's not okay. So, playback, delete, the scroll button, the spot meter, the focus. And I really love what they did with the focus on this one, guys, and how it works. It's much easier, because if you're in the right mode, all you need to do is use the track button. So cool. And the diopter. How many of you set the diopter on your cameras? Awesome. Make sure you do that. Great. Come on. From the top, very much the same. The switch between still and video. And one of the great things that's happened on the R5 Mark II is you'll notice two different menus. With the video menu calling things the cinema terms for all you videographers, and the still side with the still terms. So it's been done a lot better in my opinion. So you've got the mode dial, you've got all the stuff here, the video button, the still picture button, all the controls are the same. The on and off button is here, awesome. And the mode dial is the same as it's been on all of the mirrorless cameras, except it's a little bit simplified. I really love what they've done to the mode dial. It does have the new deluxe hot shoe. So for those of you with old flashes, you need to buy the hot shoe adapter so you can put the old flashes on the camera. So if you want to buy a new flash with the new features, get the EL5. There's more flashes coming, I hear. But it also takes the powered microphones and all those powered accessories for the top, which are very cool. On the ports, so you see here, ports on the side, the 3-pin remote socket, just like on all the Pro cameras. Flash sync terminal. For those of you who are going to do studio flash, please do not use the flash sync terminal. No electronic cameras are insulated to put a big high-powered flash into there. Get a wireless receiver, a transmitter for the top. It's a lot easier. So you've got microphone and headphone jacks, USB-C for power and accessory, and a full-size HDMI port on the side of the camera. And you'll see we're going to use the HDMI port today. It's really a lot of fun. So what's the same on the R5? It's 45 megapixels. But it's a new sensor that has some really cool new stuff in it. But it's still 45. Small and compact like the R5. So it didn't get bigger. Thank God. I mean, I hate the Ford Mustang effect, right? Where they take this cute little car and every time it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, so this is a behemoth, right? So small and compact. And for those of you who are still shooting with SLR, the difference in feel between the mirrorless cameras, and you know, Livia, I gave you this and you said the first thing you saw it when I gave it to you a little while ago, right? Oh my gosh, it's so small, right? Compared to a 5D or a 7D, super small. The new 24-105 kit lens is amazing. If you haven't looked at the prints I brought, I made some prints today from the pictures I shot yesterday, and these are all with the 24-105 kit lens. The 25-105L kit lens is no slouch, guys. It's a great travel lens. Would I still buy the 24-70 2.8 or the 28-70? Yes. But if you want a light walking around lens, I would add the 24-105 to my kit as well. The mirrorless performance rocks. If you're not up to mirrorless yet, you're losing. We are kicking your butt every single day. And not only that, your trade-in value is falling like a stone. Get your trade-in done, get your old cameras in, your old lenses in, let us get those taken care of for you so that you're on the new side. Hybrid still in video. People have long been asking for one camera to do both. This will do it. And the R5 will actually do still and video at the same time. Now, there's some restrictions on that. I don't recommend it. But now you've got the same camera and just a flip of the switch and a different button to do still and video. How cool is that? And it's just the greatest upgrade. You know, if you haven't come to mirrorless, you need to do that. Come on. What is new? It's faster, it's smarter, it's better, and there's tons of upgrades. But these are not ginormous things. They're little things that add up to a huge, giant upgrade one little bit at a time. And you know what I found in the month that we've been talking about the R5 Mark II is some upgrades, I don't care about that, I don't care about that, I really want this. And everybody's going to be that way. Some of the stuff you're going to use, some of the stuff you won't, you don't care, just get it because it's awesome. So who's the R5 Mark II for? Sports and wildlife photographers love it. And you'll see some pictures coming up. I have two friends who went to the Olympics with the R5, and they're showing, I've got images from them to share with you. I talked to one of the top Canon wildlife photographers. He loves the R5. It's amazing for that. Landscape and travel photography, because the 45 megapixels is super sharp. You can do the boost upgrade. You can do the file boost to get it up to 4 times 45, which would be, I don't know, almost 200 megapixels, right? Landscape, travel, super small, super lightweight, people and portraits, of course. And when we talk about the eye focus control, the face finder focus, amazing, absolutely amazing. For artists, for cinematographers, this is who the R5 Mark II is for. Who is the R5 Mark II not for? Windows 98 users. People who print small or don't print at all, Luddites, and people who like manual focus for the sake of manual focus, right? These are the people that are not, don't even bother, right? So this is pretty exciting stuff, and I can't wait to share it with you. So why are we excited about this? We're excited because it brings us new pictures. It brings us new abilities to focus, to lock on focus, to track at 30 frames per second. And I'll tell you, gang, I was never a high frame rate photographer. When I was able to go to Africa or shoot sporting events at 20 or 30 frames per second, you don't realize what you're missing. Now, what's the problem? How many pictures do you have to throw away? A lot. No. Peggy, a lot. And that's okay. You just throw them away, right? So how do I handle it? How do I handle shooting 240 frames in 8 seconds of this item, of this action? I look through, good, star those, throw the rest away. That's how I deal with it. And then you get 6 photos of those 240 that you keep. That's how you deal with it. Because it's a new level of success. And what you're going to learn to love is, the new term is, the focus is sticky. So once you've locked on to your subject, even though a bush, a referee, a whatever gets in the way, as long as the camera can still see it, if this bush was opaque and completely occluded the plane, it probably would lose focus. Now, do I know yet? Have I done that? No. We're still got to learn this, right? We've got 6 months of learning to do to figure all this out, and we do that together here. So, it's a new sensor. It's a back illuminated stack sensor that is a huge improvement for high ISO, dynamic range, color, and speed. And for some of you, that's enough to upgrade from an R5. Because it's a huge upgrade, and technically, how does it all work? I don't know, but it just works, and it's amazing. The Digic accelerator is a second chip, a second processing chip to handle the focus. So you've got 2 brains now. One is all about focus, and that's why they can't do an upgrade to the R5 to give it the focus that the R5 II does, because it only has 1 brain. You need that more power. And the Digic accelerator, one of the things it does is it has deep learning AI. And so we talked about the eye focus control and how it has to learn. The camera will learn from your photography. It'll learn from your subjects. It'll learn the way that you pick focus and the way that your subjects move so that it will anticipate and guess right. Because its guessing will always be faster than my thumbing on the focus thing, right? And is it perfect? No. Is it going to lose some pictures? Yes. But talking to Wally and Jeff, who just got back from Paris, the amount of pictures they're losing is minuscule compared to what they were losing before. And I have some hard numbers on that just to back it up. But the Digic Accelerator, that's the secret sauce here, gang, and what's built into the Digic Accelerator. So, focus area choices. These are the focus area choices. They've added some new ones here. So, focus areas that will move with the subject. If you ask, so by using these, and if I have chosen face, people, animal, or vehicle detect, put that on the subject. If it finds the subject and the subject moves, the focus square will move with it. Right? Pretty cool. Some people don't like that. They don't want the focus area to move. So they've locked so the focus area doesn't move. If the subject moves out of the area, right? What happens? You lose focus. But there's reasons for both, right? Now, which ones do I use? These two. So I use this more as a spotty focus. I use this more as a general focus. Why? In SLR photography, when we wanted critical focus, we would go to a very small focus block, right? But remember, SLR photography focuses on detail. Your 5D4 will focus on the weave of my shirt. R5 can't do that. R5 needs to find this break to focus on. So if I use the smaller ones, the chance of the square hitting something it won't focus on goes up. Where if I use a little bit bigger, then I now can put it on something, and the camera will find something to focus on in that square. Does everybody understand that? Now, your actual mileage may vary, and how you photograph will change which of these you choose, right? As well as the custom ones. We didn't even talk about the custom ones. You can customize the size and the shape. But this is a good place to start. And I didn't say this at the beginning. How did I design tonight's talk? So you guys who take a camera home today will have a place to start tomorrow, right? You'll have a place to, okay, I'm going to set this and this and this, and then I'm going to see how it goes. So, how does it work? I got the white square, I moved it there, it sees the dog, because the dog is part in the square. Then, it's going to turn blue and go right to the dog's eye. And when you get that blue square, ding, ding, ding. And when it flips, it's frickin' deadly. As long as the dog is reasonably in the frame, it's going to be in focus. It's absolutely amazing. It's cheating. It's not fair. It's any adjective like that. Yes. Yes. So, you have in the focus menu, so we had the camera menu, the focus menu, second focus menu, subject detect. People, eye detect, auto. You have to choose. The camera comes out of the box in auto. I want to say this properly. In the past, auto has been a big mistake. We don't know on the R5 Mark II if that's a mistake or not. But I'm going to tell you, auto is a mistake. It may work, but if you go to auto, I'm saying, okay, camera, fix it, right? If you choose people, animal, vehicle, you're doing what? You're helping the camera. You're giving it more data. And remember, the deep learning and the programming, when you put it to people, it's first going to look for a body, then it's going to look for a torso, then it's going to look for a head, then it's going to look for an eye, right? And try to hone in. The same thing with animal. It's first going to look for a dog, then it's going to look for a cat, and then it's going to look for a bird, and it has all these algorithms it goes through. That's enough work for the camera, because if you put it on auto, right, and then vehicle the same way. If you are not photographing a people, an animal, or a vehicle, what should you do? Hector? Off. Because otherwise, you find the camera looking for shapes. Why did the camera focus on that tree branch? Because to the camera, that looked like a face. Right? So go off and then use the trackpad and move the focusing square around. And you're going to be a lot better off. Is that okay? Cassie, I hope I'm saying it right. So we use people. And if you use a group, it will focus on the nearest, biggest person in the group. If you go face, it'll look for the eyes. So he will be ignored. He's ignored anyway, right? But it will go for the eyes, right? In a larger group, who's it going to go? Her. Nearer, bigger, right? Bigger, closer. And if you don't like it, you can move it. You can tell it, no, 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 do this one, right? Action, sports. Try the people. Some things it won't work on. Why? Basketball is a bad example. If I'm shooting an outdoor sport where the facers are going from sun to shade, sometimes it won't work. Now, people I've talked to, R5 Mark II locks on, and once it locks on to the face, it's deadly. So if the person is like half sun, half shade at the beginning, that may be a bigger problem than if they're full sun and then go to half sun. Everybody understand what I'm talking about here? But use people for action, right? Will the face detect work on this one? Yes or no? No. Why not, Jen? No eyes, no nose, no mouth. That's what face detect is looking for. Eyes, nose, and a mouth, right? That's why, and so here, will face detect work? Probably not. It may find the body, it may find the torso, but probably not. Animal. If I set to animal, right, who's it going to focus on here, right? The dog. Simple. Most canines, it's going to work well on, even though this isn't a canine, it's a hyena. But, had to find something else that worked, right? So it'll work great on this. Or felines. It'll work great. Boom, right? And gang, everyone asks me, so Mark, how come you still carry a 400 2.8 lens to Africa? This is why. That's the picture I want, right? That's why that lens is worth $12,000. And it's on sale $1,000 off this month, by the way. Right? Face detect, animals. Boom. Birds, birds, birds. There is no other way to make this picture than with animal detect autofocus. I tried for 18 years of going to Africa to get this picture. No camera would focus on a flight of flamingos, a flock of seagulls, whatever you're photographing bird-wise, because there was just too much movement. The camera didn't know what to do. And now with bird priority, it'll pick one of these guys, probably this one right here, and lock on him even though he's flapping and moving, and track him in focus. Probably not, because there is no nose or mouth, and the eyes on an elephant are on one side of his face. So this is where sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Vehicle priority. Vehicle priority works for cars, planes, trains, automobiles, motorcycles, bicycles, yada, yada, yada. Vehicle priority is awesome. All types of vehicles. It works. It's amazing. Yes, vehicle priority, vehicle priority, vehicle priority. Get used to making that, and that's one of those switches you're going to need to do, right? So, new for us, action priority. 3 sports. Now, you ask people, well, Mark, how come they only picked those 3 sports? Because it makes sense. Action priority is a hybrid subject detection for soccer, basketball, volleyball. What can you tell me about those 3 sports? There's one thing in common. The ball is about the same size as a human head. And that's how it works. So, I put the focus on this player. And the focus is on him. It's tracking him using the volleyball priority. When he goes up and hits the ball, the camera transfers the priority from his face to the ball and then tracks the ball to the next player. That's the secret. And my friends who shot in Paris loved it. They didn't understand it at first, and they figured it out, and they loved it. People face priority register, and I'm butchering the names on these. I'm sorry, Cassie. Register people priority. So what can you do here? You can register, come on, up to 10 people in the camera. So you go to the wedding and you put the bride and the groom as number 1 and number 2, so that when it sees them in the scene, that's who it's going to focus on. And the person you put in number 1 is going to focus in front of number 2, in front of number 3. And how do you do this? You either take a picture of them, or you go find a full-face picture on the memory card. So if it's a family thing, right, you can just, like some people load pictures on their memory card to do double exposures, right? Same kind of a thing. You keep your family pictures, one of each picture of each person on the memory card. You go in and say, I want this one, this one, this one, this one. Because what happens is the face priority is on, it looks at the faces, and it says it recognizes, oh, I know that one. That's our focus, right? And how cool is that? So think about it, Tammy, for soccer, right? You register your player, and of those 4 guys in the picture, that one, right? How cool is that, right? Now, how is this going to work? We don't know. Cameras are going out tomorrow to you guys, and we'll all figure it out together. That's the beauty of all this. All these customizations on the focus settings. Amazing amount of customization you can do. Now, what does it all mean? Oh, how much am I going to change? Probably not much, because I don't change a lot on my camera. But some of you will like this and that and this and that, and then you can change it. Pre-continuous shooting. I want you all to raise your hand and say, pre-continuous shooting. Come on. Pre-release pre-continuous release, you keep your finger on the bird, focus on the bird, da-da-da-da-da, and then as soon as he moves, you press all the way down. It's captured the last half second, and as long as you meet. How about for sports, right? Yeah, I want to get the swing and a hit, not a swing and a miss, right? How many pictures of nothing do I have? Yeah, exactly. 99. Well, you're lucky. I get 99.9% nothing. But yeah, this is the picture we want. And pre-continuous release is the way to get that. Right? So you asked about the eye focus control. It's got eye focus control, so you can move the focus point where you look. Now, this is a cool feature. I don't see why you would be using it compared to all the other stuff, right? Because if you use this, you can't be using the other focus stuff, right? And the camera is going to track focus better than we can. And if you get distracted and look over there, it's going to focus over there, right? I think the Digic Accelerator is going to do a better job, certainly do a better job than I will. But a lot of people like this feature, so it's back. Amazing blackout-free viewfinder. I love that. So it doesn't start out dark. You see it. It's better than an SLR. And gang, for all of you who have the R5, pick up my R5 too and look at it. It's like, oh my God, who turned on the lights? The new green customization menu is awesome. You can customize everything. It's all in one place. It's a lot easier than using the old custom function controls the way they were. It's still rugged, metal body, weather sealed. I talked to Jeff. He was in the rain at track in the rain at track in Paris. No cover, no nothing. It was perfect. Battery. You need to buy new batteries. I mean, you can use your older batteries, but there's stuff that doesn't work right. They're $80 each. Buy as many as you think you need, right? Get the new batteries because it's so cool. Upgrade your old batteries when you trade in your old camera. With memory card, 2 memory cards, the SD slot, and a compact flash express. It is an SD-UHS-2 memory card. You need to have the 300 megabyte per second SD cards. You need the high quality compact flash express cards. Just be warned, they get hot. And that's the way it is. They get hot. And they're not going to catch on fire, but they will be physically hot to the touch when you're shooting, and they will be physically hot to the touch when you're downloading. So, what memory cards do I recommend? The Delkin Black. You can buy the cheaper Delkins if you want. You can buy the other brands. These are the best cards on the planet. They're the most robust, and they have approximately 1,500 megabytes a second sustained write speed. I tried other cards in the R5 Mark II. At 30 frames per second, I got 2 seconds, and then the camera slowed down. It stopped, and then started slowly back up. With the Delkin Black, the new Gen 4 Delkin Black cards, you can shoot as long as you want. I mean, I've done 20 seconds at 30 frames per second. I can't count that high, how many bad pictures I just took. Don't sacrifice performance. Upgrade your old memory cards. And this card's expensive. It's $300. But so you buy 4 of them. It's not that big a deal. The new hot shoe, we talked about that. But what's really cool is they've got a locking hot shoe cover on the top of it. So, yeah. I mean, that's just an irritant, isn't it, Danny? Right? So everybody, how many of the little covers do we sell here? We sell a bajillion of them. It's got a lock, and you have to press it to take it off. And realistically, unless you want the lighting effect of a flash, you don't need a flash anymore. Flash is only for lighting. It's not because there's not enough light. And we shot outside tonight with no flash, right? And the only reason we used the lights we used was to do what? For a lighting effect. I could have shot the girls under the light that was out there, but there would be no effect of the light. Super video features, if you guys are video centric, like the tally light, so that tells people it's recording. You've got all the new video codecs, all the oversampling, all this cool stuff. So I set my camera at 4K 60. That's where I am, so it would be 4K fine, 59.48. That's where I set mine. If you're doing basic video, you want to set to the XFS 10-bit. XF AVCS 10-bit, that's where you want to sit. All the pro video guys are up here because that's a raw format. I mean, if you don't know what video is, do the AVS 10-bit. All these video custom functions, Canon log for color grading, zebra settings, waveform settings so that you can adjust the color, the exposure, the sound, false color index so you can read the light. I mean, this is all for 100%. I mean, yeah, Jen, you're I can tell you that waveform setting gives you better surf in the morning, right? And of course, a full-size HDMI port, which is awesome, because you're going to see what I'm going to do with the camera in just a second. So, does anybody know why R5, Mark II, and R1 came about 3 weeks ago? For the Olympics, exactly right. Come on. Yeah. Because they wanted all the pros to be able to use the cameras and not put a dummy shell around them like they do sometimes. They wanted it all out in the open. So this is Jeff Cable's picture. You'll see the same picture again from Wally. This is the picture. I know 3 photographers who went to Paris to shoot. This is the picture they all wanted. Because what a venue is that, right? I mean, yeah. So Wally Scally, longtime Paul's Photo customer, friends of ours here, LA Times photographer. He went to Paris with the R3 and the R1 and really loved the performance. Because the LA Times is all R3, and he borrowed in Paris the R1. Loved it, loved the performance here you'll see this same picture again from Jeff a little bit later on this rainy night at track and field. In the rain, no cover, the cameras just worked. Women's high jump, right? And he said the viewfinder allowed him to be absolutely precise on his framing and shooting. And the control, I mean, isn't this a cool picture from diving? Right? Now think of it. Those guys are going 50 miles an hour straight down to be able to pan and get that image. How cool is that, right? Yeah. I always love this stuff, right? Low light. Superb, right? Shooting at high shutter speeds. One of the things you guys who are new to 45 megapixels is you've got to raise your shutter speed. Shooting at a 125th or a 250th or a 500th is not going to get it done. I'm at a 500th or a 1000th for most everything I shoot these days. And with the blackout-free viewfinder, you get everything. You see everything. And so many people are reluctant to come to mirrorless from SLR because, well, I don't like the electronic view. No, it's awesome. Yeah. Those are Wally's pictures. Yeah, everybody's dream shot. Yeah. So I spent about an hour on the phone with Jeff Cable. He works for the United States Olympic Committee and USA Water Polo. He is a big Canon guy. In fact, he was one of the people that Canon trained specially on the R1 and the R5 II, and he was absolutely thrilled with the camera. Absolutely thrilled with both cameras. And you know what? Water polo, that's who he mainly shoots for. They loved the pictures they got from him. I found out this was my wife's favorite sport this time. Right, Jen? Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah. So Jeff's heroes, the R1, the R5 Mark II, the 10 to 20 lens, and the 100 to 300. And when he went out light, he went out with the R5, the 10 to 20, and the 100 to 300. That's all he took. Pretty cool, huh? He also took the 24 to 70, the 70 to 200, and the 100 to 500 on the trip. But some days it was full backpack, and some days it was just the small kit. And off he went. Right? So he said to me, the autofocus is ridiculous, tracked amazing, stuck to the face, and we talked a lot about photographing gymnastics, how they're flippy, dippy all over the place, and what is the camera going to focus on? The camera on its own went from face to torso back to face as the people flipped and twisted and twirled. And his keeper rate was amazing. And he said the R5, 90% of the R1 performance as far as focus tracking goes. So if you're really into sports and action and wildlife, probably wait for the R1. If you want a hybrid camera, the R5 Mark II. The other thing Jeff said that was really amazing, this is the first time in a long time Canon has done this, 2 cameras that are exactly the same as far as menus and functions goes. So if you wanted to have 2 cameras, like when I go to Africa, right? If you wanted to have 2 cameras, having 2 R5s or an R5 and an R1 would make a perfect kit for that. So he shared with me that with gymnastics, in the past, and last time he shot gymnastics was 3 years ago in Tokyo, right? 10% of his pictures were in focus. This time, 90%. And of all the sports he shoots, gymnastics is the hardest, right? Because it's crappy light, you're relatively close with wide aperture, and they're moving very quickly towards you and away from you, right? Probably the hardest, those are the hardest things to photograph, right? People priority focus rocked. Put it on the front guy, and it just does its thing. And even in the rain, look at the rain here. I mean, it was really raining on one of those nights. No protection. Pre-continuous shooting, was a lifesaver for him at beach volleyball. Saved his edits, 90% of his edit it saved, right? Because you're on the player, they're diving, oh, they missed it. Dang, right? On them, they dive, they get it, ding, and you got the last half second and however long you leave, right? And he got a lot of ball. This is what you want. You want ball, right? The R1, 5,000 plus shots a day on a battery. The R5, he was shooting a whole game, a whole match, usually about 2,000 photos on one battery. Now, some days he went through 4 or 5 batteries because he shot, 2 water polo games, and then he went to soccer, and then he went to, but yeah. So if you're going to Africa, you're going to need 2 or 3 batteries a day. But for most of us, 2 or 3 batteries is all we need. He said the new technology just enabled his creativity to capture the magic, empowering these beautiful performances. So he's the water polo photographer, so when they got the bronze, he doesn't get a medal, but he got to wear it, right? But how cool is that, right? Most of us never even get to touch an Olympic medal. So yesterday, I went to Disneyland with the R5, and it was amazing. Under backlight, front light. Huge dynamic range. Bright sun on a white car, dark background. And if I turned out the lights in here, there's all detail back here, right? The lights are up, so you can't see. Low light, 6400 ISO, 60th at f4, using the image stabilizer, amazing. Once again, 6400 ISO, 125th at f4. And the only lens I brought was the 24 to 105 kit lens. And for those of you who are thinking about a camera, if you don't have that lens, oh, it's a kit lens, I really want the 24 to 72.8. Get the 24 to 72.8, but get a 24 to 105.2 and put it in your bag. Because as a one lens, walk around, travel lens, it's amazing. Minimum focus, straight out of the camera, using people focus. It's a little dark, a little bit of processing to bring it up. I mean, this is like 15 seconds in Photoshop, right? Oh my God, people autofocus, Mary Poppins on the carousel, coming around, locked on her face, locked her face, and as she's going away from me, that was the image I like out of about a dozen, 12, 15 shots that I made, right? Just a nice portrait using the face priority. Then I had him take his glasses off, and I made this one black and white. And I have the print right here. You can see it. People focus on action. And the people focus tracked. As the Spider-Man jump at Disneyland, right? So this is at 20 frames per second. You know, this thing takes 3/4 of a second for him to flip across. The focus tracked all the way across. Animal focus on a horse. Horses are hard to shoot, right, Peggy? And animal focus found the eye. I was at f5.6 because I knew I needed the whole. Oh, Mr. Horse, why the long face, right? Yeah. Vehicle focus here, Big Thunder Railway, locked in right there, boom, boom. And this is at continuous high speed again, 30 shots in a second and a half. Boom, there's the one I picked, right? Vehicle focus, it picked vehicle focus here. I mean, even though inner tube, right? I'm sure that's not in its programming, right? But it figured it wasn't a person. There it is, right? There's the one I wanted. So, getting the better pictures. Questions, anybody? It's 7 minutes till the magic hour. Do you guys want to see the menus real quick? Okay. All right. Hold on a second. Does anybody have any questions about the slides? Yeah, go ahead.
On the pre-focus,
Yes.
It works at the high speed.
Yes, it has to be in continuous high speed. If you're not in continuous high speed, the pre-continuous shooting is grayed out. That was one of the mistakes I had to call Cassie on. Cassie, how come I can't get pre-continuous focus to work? She said, you're not on high plus, are you? And I said, no. Okay, that's it. But that's the stuff we have to figure out. It's a brand new camera, guys, right? I got this camera on Friday to test. And so I got the test yesterday. All right. So one of the things I love, see how it found your face, right? Now I'm just using the trackball and I can move the focus. See how I moved the focus, it found a different face, right? Cool. So you wanted to see menus. Menu. So for those of you who are used to the Canon, sorry, I can't use touchscreen because of the there we go. So camera mode, so raw JPEG, ISO, anti-flicker. I recommend anti-flicker on. Not the high anti-flicker, just the regular. A picture control. The auto lighting optimizer, I like to turn that on. That's up to you. White balance, long exposure noise reduction, I like off. Multiple exposure, focus bracketing, drive mode, and that's where you see, right? So I go to high, and then I can go to pre-continuous. Oh, I can't have anti-flicker on at the same time. So there's a lot of settings you gotta just figure it out, right? I don't know. We got to figure it out, Tammy. So pre-continuous shooting enabled.
Okay, so if you enable it and then you go back to regular drive, would it?
It's going to turn off.
It'll turn it off, but I'm just saying, does it turn it back on? Like if I left it so that it's always ready when high speed's on?
You're right. It does.
Okay.
Awesome.
So if I just leave it set, so
Yep.
if I do flip to high speed,
Okay, and now how's it work? Right, I mean, pre-continuous shooting. You see it's pre there. It's counting, right? It's working. I haven't taken a picture yet. And now when I press, it's taking pictures, right? That's how it works. Image stabilizer mode, quick controls, display, simulation, exposure simulation I like on. For those of you who haven't shot with a mirrorless camera, this is like the sweetest thing. You get live exposure. It's not a light meter, but you get to see the exposure. Shooting display, autofocus settings, always on servo for me. Check the autofocus area. Subject detect, people, animals, vehicles, none, right? Eye detect auto, right eye, left eye, you can set that, auto. Register, pardon me? Picks the nearest biggest, always nearest biggest, yeah. And I don't know what if the nearest one is smaller, but the priority is nearest biggest. Yeah. The autofocus settings. Now, these are a can of worms, right? And we've been down this rabbit hole many times. I'm gonna resist for now. We'll get there later. So autofocus, post image priority, auto release, all these are here. Limit autofocus area, you can do all that. Autofocus peaking, turn on. If you guys don't use focus peaking, turn that on. Playback. Network settings. Tools menu. The green customized menu we talked about. Custom function settings. And my menu tabs. So those are the basic menus. I mean, for those of you who are, if you're already an R5 person, this should seem very simple, very close to you. If you're a 5D person, it should be, moderately familiar. Questions?
So does it come with a battery charger or?
Comes with a battery. Canon is the last one to give a real battery charger. So none of the Sonys haven't come with battery chargers for a long time. The latest Nikon camera doesn't come with a charger. I was so surprised to see this. Just fair warning. So what comes in the box? A USB cable, the charger, the battery, and a wafer-thin pamphlet that is the startup guide. Well, it's actually thick, but it has 52 languages in it. So it's wafer-thin for each language. So just be prepared, you're going to be downloading. And you guys can download tonight from usa.canon.com, service and support, manuals, 5D R5 Mark II. You can download the manual at any time. And people say, Mark, I want the printed manual. Yeah, some of us do, but I think it's a much better thing to have it on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer, to make unlimited copies of the of the manual than have one paper thing that weighs 3 pounds that you're going to leave at home or spill a coffee on. So, other questions? Mechanical shutter, electronic shutter. So, I forget where that was. The camera has actually has 4 options: auto, mechanical, front curtain electric, electronic shutter. I use mechanical shutter most of the time. You do lose some of the functionality in the super high frame rate when you go to mechanical shutter, but I like the way the camera works in mechanical shutter. Hopefully later on we'll see improvements so the electronic shutter will work better, but there are certain functions that only work in electronic shutter.
Yeah, I don't think you could do the pre-shooting.
You can't do the pre-shooting, you can't do the 30 frames per second. Yeah. Other questions? All right. Yes?
What about banding?
So that's why I use the anti-flicker. So the anti-flicker, and that only works in mechanical shutter. Yeah. I believe. I would have to test that. I'll take that back. Okay? All right, so in a minute, you guys will be able to go out, because that clock is fast. You'll be able to go to the blue door and then go in, and the crew is ready to help you guys get your cameras. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being part of this. I hope I helped you with your decision and hope with your answers. So.